Thank you. I can make it in 20 minutes. Good morning, everybody. Kamusta kayo? Kamusta kayo? Medyo malayo yung stage, no? So parang hindi tayo masyadong close. But I'm happy to say, everybody, today, congratulations to all of us who made it to Hope Summit 2.0! Back in 5 years ago, it was at the Lasal. Andun sila Jay, and I can see familiar faces. Marami pa rin tayong mga kasama before, dito pa rin tayo ngayon. And I'm so glad that sama-sama pa rin tayo na nakasakay doon sa ating yellow boat sa mahabang panahon. Usually, pag sumasakay ako sa Grab, when I take the Grab almost every day, the usual conversation with the Grab drivers, nauuwi lagi sa isang tanong. Sir, meron pa ba tayong pag-asa? Ayan. Sa tingin nyo, ano sa tingin nyo? Meron pa ba tayong pag-asa? Okay. Meron pa ba tayong pag-asa? Okay. That's why I think this conversation and this summit is so important and so essential because all of us take that tiny piece of hope from where we came from. And then in this summit, we merge it. We amplify it into a collective hope. Hello, Tito, Tita, good to see you. And then from that collective hope, we take that with us as we go back home to our community. And then we start planting that seed of hope. No? Tinatanim natin yung seed of hope again in our community. And we hope that that hope can blossom into something, hi, Senator Kadodoy, beautiful, wonderful, meaningful, and impactful in the future. Marami tayong mga special guests dito, so I keep mentioning them as they came inside the room. So, today, I'll make it very quick. And ang na-assign sa akin na topic is the power of purpose. Ayan. I think this topic is very much talked about already. When you go to conventions, training, seminars, we always talk about purpose. And particularly today, the power of purpose. But I personally feel that this topic is very fundamentally important. I feel that this topic should be talked about at home, should be taught at length at school, so that as we develop and grow the cognitive capacity of our children, we also develop or mold or guide children with that very clear sense of purpose. At minsan nakakalungkot, I just came from a talk at my previous high school in Bayug National High School in Zamboanga del Sur. And the teachers were telling me, oh my God, sir, it's very challenging now to guide the students. Because before, during your time, in a year, swerte na lang kung merong 2 o 3 nag-aaway sa campus. But right now, we have to put and install police officers inside the campus because almost every day there's going to be fight and riot in the campus. So I think the talk about the purpose is very important and relevant in our conversation during these days. And when I was thinking about the topic, I thought that the best way and better way of sharing you insights about the power of purpose is to really just share my personal journey and experience. And hopefully we can be inspired by that story. So let me begin. What purpose really means is the convergence between what we are passionate about or what we love and what we are good at, the skills that we are born with or maybe the skills that we learn, no? And the greater social good. This is really a powerful convergence that binds the three. What you are passionate about, what you love, what you are good at, lahat tayo merong kagalingan. Some of the things that we are good at, we are born with it. Some of the things we are good at, we learn from our experience and from our journey. But that cannot be possible. Purpose cannot be possible without the third element, which is the greater social good. There has to be that element of social need. Hindi pwede na tayo ay passionate about something, that you are skilled about something, and wala siyang element of social good. That's really a simplified definition of purpose. Because, why is it very important? And I would relate it to this verse that I also like about, no? Sabi dito sa Proverbs 29:18, without vision, people perish. In fact, if I think about what's happening in our society today, in the global context and even in the local context in our community, tingin ko, baka may reason bakit hindi tayo tuloy-tuloy dun sa direction na gusto natin. Because, that's why the coming election is coming very soon, we need to have people who have vision. And this vision is not just relevant when you talk about the Philippines as a country. This is also relevant to our personal journey. A person must have a vision because as they say, everybody wants to get there. Di ba? As a country, as a human being, as a family, we want to get somewhere. Tama ba? But the reality is that not everybody gets there. So no, we want to be in this place. We want to be somewhere here. But unfortunately, not all of us gets there. What's in between? I think it's very important to have that word, vision and purpose. Sabi nila, vision is synonymous to what we always say, our why. Without our why, we lose our way. That's why when we actually elect leaders in our country soon, ito yung lagi natin tinitingnan, no? When we listen to them, when we listen to their speech, when we listen to them on TV, we always ask, ano kaya yung why nito? Why are they running? And today, meron tayo ditong guest. I'm sure, pag tanungin natin siya, why is he running for office? He has a very clear vision of what he hopes to achieve. Similar to, I think, Yellow Board above, to our leaders, to our board, we always have to go back to that why because Yellow Boat, in the next 15 years, we need to revisit that why because if we lose our why, we lose our way. Very quickly, this video, sino mahilig dito sa Walking Dead? Nanonood ba kayo? Episode, I think this one is Season 10, Episode 16. Ayan, wala sang video, but basically, ang sabi nila, a person without vision, a person without purpose, and a person without the why is pretty much like these people. Sabihin na lang natin na yung isa ay mayroon siyang why. So mayroon siyang sense of discernment that is actually a cliff, no? Ang sabi nila, if wala tayong vision, wala tayong why, wala tayong purpose in life, para tayong mga zombies. No? And unfortunately, we see this happening in a certain way, in a certain context in our country. Kung walang why ang ating mga kabataan, walang why yung ating mga families, walang why yung ating community, walang why yung ating leaders in the country, that is where we are heading. No? Again, I mentioned that everybody wants to get somewhere, but not everybody gets there. Now, let me share to you my personal journey and how really purpose took me to a place that I feel so meaningful for me right now. To a lot of you, I am quite a familiar face in the Yellow Boat community, no? Lagi akong kasama ni Doc, kasama ni Doc Ophel, kasama ni Kuya Manny for many years. I remember I was in the United States from 2006 to 2011. And then dahil alam nyo, or I shared to a lot of you my personal journey as a young kid, if you are poor, your dream is really just to uplift your life, buy nice clothes, eat good food, and travel. I had a chance of working in the United States for, I think, 7 years to 8 years. But in 2013, I decided to come back home to the Philippines. And one of the reasons behind that is that I felt strongly that at 27, I had this turning point and I had to follow my God and my calling, to follow my purpose. So I jumped on the plane, I went to the Philippines without any singular plan at all at the time. And then I wrote this story on Rappler, leaving Los Angeles to pursue greener pasture. And guess what? Si Doc nakabasa. He read about the story. He used to work at the office of the president, and he reached out to me. And that singular act of really just obliging and following the calling that God put in my heart led me to where I am right now. Very beautiful. So what is the lesson that I'd like to share with you? Number one, purpose opens the way. At the time, there were a lot of uncertainties in my decision. But sabi nga kanina, when you are called, God will lead you to the path. Purpose in my life, in my experience, opens the way. I met Doc Anton, and I met this wonderful people in this table right here. I met ko si Senator Bam. I met amazing people in the Philippines. Purpose, if you follow your purpose opens the way. Now, I feel that a lot of you can relate to this because a lot of you, I know your journey in the Yellow Boat community. I have a friend here, Ryan Madamba. He was my classmate back in high school. And nung pinalo niya yung kanyang calling to be part of the Yellow Boat community, purpose as well opens the way for Him. Now, sometimes, when you follow your purpose, you really don't know where your purpose will take you, right? You just kind of commit yourself to stick on the goal and try to live your purpose. In my journey, in the previous years, hindi ko alam kung saan ako dadalhin ng purpose. When I was running Be a Giver, if you remember, marami sa inyo dito yung bag na red, no? We worked together and gave a lot of bags in your communities. For the past 10 years that Be a Giver served its purpose, we've given hundreds and hundreds of thousands of school bags across the country, mobilized more than 50,000 young people to work in the community. And then I felt that, saan kaya ako dadalhin ng aking purpose, ng aking mission? So dahil feeling ko, ma-feel mo na yung purpose mo is sobrang laki, and you need to kind of skill yourself up so that you can be better at accomplishing your purpose. There is where my purpose led me. It led me to study, to learn more, to empower myself. I went to Asian Institute of Management kasi wala man akong background in management and in business. And it led me to London School of Economics. Who would have thought that that young boy in my town, without a school bag, in my entire life in elementary school, would have the privilege of studying at Asian Institute of Management. Sabi nila, pang mayaman lang daw to na school, yung Asian Institute of Management. Si Jason is also from there. And then, I went to London School of Economics because I wanted to really improve myself as a social innovator in the social development space. What does this experience taught me? Purpose leads the way. If we follow and live up to our purpose, it does not just opens the way. Purpose leads the way. In the past 10 years, I feel that Be a Giver has served its purpose. In fact, after the pandemic, we scaled down Be a Giver. Although it still continues to provide school bags to the children, purpose leads the way. And me just going through and following that purpose, it led me to the next journey of my life. When I came back from London, I realized, ang tanong ko sa sarili ko, ano yung aking pang pwedeng magawa? I realized that I wanted to be part of something bigger than what I have been doing in the past 10 years. Me and Doc Anton, we formed this foundation called Philippine Social Equity and Development Foundation because we felt that a lot of our farmers in the Philippines are truly marginalized and in need of help. So natayo kami niyan 2 years ago, in 2023, and it gave me another sense of purpose. What was the lesson for me in this journey? Purpose fuels the way. A lot of you knew that I supported a certain candidate in 2022. Sometimes in our journey of doing what we do in the community, we feel like it's becoming too tiring. It's becoming too, well, in a way, hopeful tayo, but sometimes, I'm sure you will agree with me, sometimes it's becoming a little bit hopeless. But if you know your purpose in life, if you embrace your purpose in life, your purpose fuels the way. That is the reason why we are still here today. 7 years after the first summit, we are still here. Because even if it gets tired sometimes, even if it gets stressful sometimes, even if it gets hopeless sometimes, we stay hopeful because our purpose fuels the way. If I think about my journey from that kid in Zamboanga, Sibugay, to becoming the founder of Be a Giver, improving my personal and professional journey, to putting together a new foundation for the farmers that we so care about, I think right now, my purpose has led me to a lot more bigger things that I can do in the community. My bosses are actually here. My first boss is going to speak after me. I said, right now, because I followed that purpose, it opened the way, it led my way, it fueled my way. Now, I'm working as a professional social innovator, working with great organizations such as Assisi Development Foundation and Asa Philippines Foundation to really make use of what we have, our network and resources, to make a difference in the country. Right now, in my stage of my life, I feel what I learned is that purpose expands the way. You see, that simple word of purpose can really lead you to a life, to a direction that is not only meaningful and impactful for yourself, but also meaningful and impactful for other people. And, siguro, sabi nga ni Doc Anton, from that decision to, hop on the plane, come back to the Philippines with a lot of uncertainties, Ano ang sa tingin mo, meron ka bang dating iniisip na you will be in a place where you are right now? Of course, the answer was no. No? Hindi ko iniisip that I'll be in this position right now to do a lot of great things in the country. But, ang nakita ko dito is that if you are called pala, sometimes the calling is too great, you don't even have the energy and the power to resist the calling. And if you oblige and follow your calling, I think in my example, in my life, I hope that we will take that as a message that if God is calling you,
If you know what is following you, the mission to your community, whatever it is, you can be safe, you can be secure, you can be at peace, because you know that your purpose will open the way for you, your purpose will lead the way for you, your purpose will fuel the way for you, and your purpose will expand your way. And our prayer in the next 5 years, in the next 7 years, is that for God to expand our heaven calling, for God to expand the territory of Yonabo. Very quickly, I want to brush through some of these slides. So, next slide, please. You know, purpose is a well-studied topic. If you talk about purpose in the workplace, if you talk about purpose in an organization, it's a well-studied. That purpose really has not just, purpose is a pretty much well-studied benefit to human beings. That's why kanina, sabi ko, sa taga Palawan, nag-hi sila sa amin nila. Hi, Joel, sabi ko, wow, that was 5 years ago. Pero, ang gaganda niyo pa rin, at ang mabata niyo pa rin, at ang sexy niyo pa rin. Because when you live a life of purpose, it is scientifically well studied that your sense of peace and your happiness, contentment, has a physical impact to your life. Kaya kayo magaganda, mga bata, anda na happy pa rin kayo ngayon. So, this is really what we need to do. How do I find my purpose? What are the practical steps to do? So you ask yourself, what excites you? What problems you want to solve? What are the strengths and unique contributions that you have? Expertise. And then you have to align and passion the skills and the idea of serving to others so that you can find that sweet spot. So ang tanong ngayon sa ating lahat, after the summit is that, nakita ko na ba yung ating sweet spot? And I'm sure a lot of you will say yes. You're well from the blood. You've been serving our community for many, many years. From Jay, I'm sure, hindi lang si Sir Jason yung sweet spot mo, but you found your sweet spot in life. And then you take action. You take the steps to live with purpose taking. Sometimes, it only takes that one step to live a life of purpose. My fear, meron doubt, but the encouragement is to have the courage to embrace your purpose. Sabi na, sir, mahirap mag-give ng purpose because there are a lot of external pressures and expectations. Sa community, when you start working with the community, you will have a lot of expectation your way, timing your way. Kaya sabi ng boss ko, if you go down to the community, you ask them, we start asking deeper what do you need? You create that expectation. But ito yung aking learn dyan. The expectation that matters most is the one you set for yourself. So when you set out to the trading, you ask yourself, ano yung expectation ko sa sarili ko? That I also share with the community. And our purpose also has to go through some changing because the times are fast changing. Sabi nila, Josh, why did you still not be a giver? Instead of like actually scaling it up, because at the time before the pandemic, we planned to expand in parts of the region in Southeast Asia. But you know, the purpose also has to change as time is changing. So you have to grow with your purpose and adapt to the changing times. Yeah, even the selection of the food in the next pumpkin lot, better consideration, what is the current time, what is the changing time? And that book should have purpose as well. Okay, I recommend you to read this book. Type by Craig Rochelle. It's really about finding your purpose. Next, ladies.
we know this already, the greatest tragedy in life is not death, but life without purpose. I think that to end,
Question po, no, is I'm very curious with your new partnership with the farmers.
yes,
Yes po. So, we would like to
hear a little bit more about it.
Yes, we would like to sana know more about it because right now, as a chairperson for Peace Palawan and also a collaborator of Westcom MSAB, we're working with the farmers. So I'm also an NGO and we are here for a project sa basura may pera. So that's biochar project. So right now, we are working with the farmers all over Palawan. So we are hoping to have a partner also with your new Yes,
Yeah.
opo. So thank you. We would like to know more.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll make it very quick now. So, back,
Mic check. One, two. That one's okay.
Hello?
Yeah. Ay, wala din.
Hello. Ayan. Backstory very quickly. One time, nagkape ako in the streets of London, and then after election, kasi, I mean, I'll be very honest, I was so frustrated with the outcome of the election. No? I was thinking, I've been here in the Philippines for quite a while, almost 10 years after I went back from LA, and then I'm thinking, like, ano kaya nagawa ko? Ano kaya nag-make a difference ba? And it still makes sense to come back to the Philippines. One time, nagkape ako, I read this article about the farmers being the poorest in the country. It's not something that's new, kasi alam na natin yun eh. But I strongly feel at that time na talagang kawawa yung mga farmers natin. And I've been to, I've studied the situation in India, in Japan, in South Korea, and other countries. Nakita ko that the farmers are actually doing okay and doing well. So when I come back home, in particular, I was doing a study on ecosystem. And si Kadodoy is very familiar with the farmers and the fishers. Na-realize ko na a lot of the things na kulang sa atin talaga is that ang ating agriculture system, wala tayong robust ecosystem that supports the farmers to thrive. So we have a lot of agencies, but a lot of these agencies are working in silos, it's fragmented, and wala talagang ecosystem builder na strong. I came to Sibugay and I was so stunned and so surprised to know that merong 1,350 hectares of abandoned cacao farms. As in totally abandoned, unproductive for the past 7 years. Because sometime, 6 years ago, the government pushed for National Greening Program and they were pushing seedlings on the ground, but they did not teach the farmer how to properly plant it. So, in short, ang PhilSeed, we are trying to really create a local, robust ecosystem, starting with Sibugay. And we have one question in particular with cacao, no? And then we can do other crops in the future. Ang tanong namin is, kung matulungan yung mga cacao farmers or other farmers in particular, kaya ba nilang maalis sa kahirapan? Because we have been fighting poverty in the country for the longest time. And as of today, we are not winning against that war. But there is a way to do it. In summary, sasabihin ko siya in the context of quote-unquote depth of intention. If all of us, government, the public, the private, the NGOs, and all of us, if we say we want to help the farmers, we really have to mean it from our heart that we want to help the farmers. So what do we have to do? We have to build a robust and strong ecosystem in our agricultural system. So that is what PhilSeed is trying to do in Zamboanga, Sibugay. And we hope to duplicate that model in other parts of the country. Ayan, so we can talk about Palawan in the future.
Na-inspire po ako kasi you were navigating your own parang purpose while nakikita nyo po yung social realities. So my question po is, how do you deal with the overwhelming realities? Kasi kakasabi nyo lang po kanina na when you lead with purpose, parang nakikita nyo po na palaki ng palaki yung pangangailangan ng communities around you. So parang from what you shared po, nagsimula sa simple yung boats, hanggang sa understanding that there is a lack of access, lack of resources, and then now po na you are with PhilSeed, yung greater need to create an ecosystem and to enrich yung industry of agriculture. So how do you deal with that po?
Okay. Wow, very, very good question. Also very hard to answer. I will try to answer it in 3 things. Number 1, I always have this principle of pick a problem and change the world. When I was starting Be a Giver, a lot of people were saying that it's a very simple problem because it's just giving back, no? But at that time, that is the problem that spoke to my heart kasi it's my personal story. Wala kasi akong bag nung lumalaki ako. So the closer story was pick a problem and change the world. Okay? And then, as you navigate your life, a life of purpose, you will see all these things that you say, it can be overwhelming, no? The other thing that I'm also thinking is that I have to accept, and I accepted the fact, that I cannot change the world. But just the same, you have to live every day changing the world. So, meron siyang ano, no? Meron siyang contradicting na parang, you know that you cannot change the world, but it doesn't mean that you will not try your best to change the world. So, kumbaga parang, hindi dahil mahirap siya, hindi mo siya gagawin. Yan. And then, the reality also is that, iniiwasan ko rin yung parang messianic complex na parang, you have to go to the community, then you provide solution and the problem. I always have this concept of really being just a co-creator of the solution. Because sometimes the tragedy would be feeling and coming to the community as if we have a solution to the problem. So, yun, pick a problem, change the world. Even if you cannot change the world, you live your life changing the world every day. And also, you become just a tiny portion of the equation of changing the world and just being part of the community and not the solution to the problem of the community. That's number 3. The reality is that the social problems of our community and our country can be really overwhelming. And that is why one of the tips that I have and the things that I live by is to be surrounded by the people like this. No, habang tumatanda ka daw, like ako tumatanda na ako, as you grow older, parang lumiliit din yung dapat circle, but yung intention mo lumalaki. No, ngayon, for example, no, in this table, for example, I have my tita, my titos, my boss, my advocates. You have to surround yourself with the people that can make it happen for you. Ayan. So, it's overwhelming, but if you are with the right network, the right people, you can always wake up one day feeling down, but still getting inspired by the work at hand.